All right. Hey, everybody. I am broadcasting live now on Mighty Networks. Let me get going here in Discord. Check, check. All right. Hey, Whitebeard. Ignite Life. How you doing, man? All right. Some people are trickling in. Jeff here, checking in with the Church Digital Tuesday. Uh, I am. I adjusted. Hey, Purposeful Paul. Purposeful Paul. Good to see you again, man. I've seen you around here a couple times now. It's good to catch up with you. I had to adjust my chair. My back is killing me. Like I have a doctor's appointment later this week. I'm not sure if it's kidneys or if it's a slip disc or what. Getting old sucks. Like I wanted to. I don't know if any of you can relate to this. Well, Whitebeard, I'm guessing you probably can at some level. Um, but yeah, getting old is a horrible thing. Don't I know it? Yes, Whitebeard, you do know it. Well, hey, listen, it's great hanging out with y'all today. Going to wait just a couple more minutes, kind of stalling here a little bit, waiting for some others to come in. But we've got Mighty Networks. Mighty Networks is quiet today. Not much energy going on over there. It does. You're only turning 40 in June. It's interesting. I got to tell you, literally, like the day I turned 40, my eyes stopped working, my teeth started falling out of my mouth. Like it was all over at 40. And I'm 40. I'm 46 now. I hobble around with a cane. Like it went downhill very quickly. And it all started with the big 40, man. I remember that very well. Things got a lot grayer too. Whitebeard, when did you go gray? White. I mean, whatever. Like what did you look like with color? Like that's a really started at 17. Yeah, I started losing my hair when I was 16. My mom actually bought me a bottle of Rogaine. Funny story for a different day. But I would, why not? I'll tell it. Like I would take off my football helmet. I was a high school football player. I would literally take off my football helmet and like hair. You could like look inside the football helmet and you could just see the hair all inside. It was just coming out, falling out. And when it was funny, I'm like spiky afro kid, right? Honest to God, when I was in middle school and high school, middle school more. And I remember telling my mom, I was like, "Hey, I think I'm going to go bald. Hey, I think I'm going to go bald." And my mom's like, she just starts laughing at me. She's like, "Jeff, all the hair that you have, there's no way you're ever going to go bald." And sure enough, um, I think I shaved my head at 22. Got married at 21, and had a really vicious comb over. My wife did not want me to shave for the wedding. And so instead I did kind of the comb over thing and tried to hang on as long as I could. Is that you, Whitebeard? That is not a comb over, my friend. That's impressive. Okay, you see, I can't do. I'm looking at this in chat if you're watching, and so this is why you need to be catching us live on Discord to see Whitebeard. Um, is that 26, 25? 25 years old, and he's got the faux hawk. 35. That's you at 35, my friend. Wow, you were a baby. You look young there. Um, but he's got the Fu Manchu with no mustache. I can't pull that look off. I need the fuzz under the nose. Awesome. Well, hey everybody, glad you could hang out with us here with the Church Digital. My name's Jeff, and I'm going to be talking to you for a little bit today with the live stream. We've had a couple of really interesting live streams over the past couple weeks, and we just did an interview on Friday. I think it was Friday afternoon. We interviewed. We did the state of the African American Digital Church, and so DK Hammonds hung out with us on Discord and had a really fun conversation. And so that conversation, I've gotten a lot of people asking, they weren't able to make it. Typically I don't want to do Friday podcast recordings. I don't want to do anything Friday. Let's just be honest. And so we'll try to not do them on Friday. But DK could only do Friday for some reason, or at least that was the quickest he could come on. So we did it Friday. But the release of that recording, that live podcast recording, will be in a week, next Monday. So it'll be on the Church Digital podcast next week. We got some really cool podcasts coming up as well. We did confirm we're doing. Hey, DK, I was just talking about you, man. DK, the video of our interview is going to be next week. And so I'll send you the raw video, but if you can post it next week, like, what is that going to be? The 29th, Monday the 29th, it'll release. That'll be awesome, man. Thanks for that. Yeah, you're good, man. I know you've got me. It's all solid. I meant to email you that earlier. And then we confirmed a couple podcasts coming up. We're doing the virtual reality church planting. We're bringing in Plantology. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on his. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on his name right now. Stuart McPherson. That one I've got down. Who wrote Plantology? I should know this. He literally, his inbox is right here. Peyton Jones is coming in, doing a live recording on the week of the 15th. And Steve Addison, author of Movements in the Book of Acts, as well as missiologist, Australian dude. He is coming on to do a podcast, really just even talking about the idea of digital movements. And that's going to be the week of the 8th. The 8th, that'll be interesting because he's in Australia. And so I'm trying to get all the details worked out so they're both live, although I have a feeling that Australian podcast is going to be either super late or super early once we get the times figured out on that. But you definitely don't want to miss those two. But hey, and listen, talking physical, we're going to be talking more physical church and planting probably today. We've got something big coming up, and that's going to be literally tomorrow. Hold on, I'm wearing the wrong hat. Literally changing hats in real time for my Resi logo here. Talking Resi here. We're talking the idea. No, you need Alan Hirsch. Alan. Yes, maybe I could get Alan Hirsch. Alan Hirsch has done interviews with me, Whitebeard, for Leadership Network, and we've talked digital movements with him previously. Actually, Alan Hirsch we were going down the road at some point a year ago about even publishing some books through his publishing company. Oh my gosh, 100 Movements, 100 Movement Publishing. So yeah, listen, Alan's a friend, and Alan's one of these guys talking about digital movements, and Steve Addison's the same way, where he'll say, "I don't understand what you're doing, Jeff, but I love that you're doing it." And so, some of the idea of digital and digital community, man, it distances some of these guys like Steve Addison and like Alan Hirsch. That's not knocking them in any way. But even those guys are still supportive of what we're doing in this space. You're distracting me here. Come on, I got to stay on task. So hey, listen, we are doing the Resi, wearing literally the changed hats. Doing a webinar with Resi. We're calling it the Digitally Resilient Church. You see, Resi, it's interesting. Resi actually stands for resilient, and the company named it Resi because of like the technology. Their technology is literally, it's the strongest streaming technology on the freaking planet. Like it's really, really good. But now we're starting to get into this idea of, hey, how does this streaming technology, how does digital ministry, how does digital discipleship, how does connection and community, how does this help your church become stronger? How does this help your church become more resilient? And so what we're actually doing is really casting maybe new vision, a stronger vision for digital, maybe reminding some people why they're doing digital, or maybe educating some people who really never understood why they were doing digital in the first place in a post-COVID environment, post-lockdown. And so we have over 300 people RSVP'd for this webinar. It's one of 6 webinars we're doing, basically April, May, June, July, August, September, 6. And so the one coming up has got Tyler Sansom, good friend Tyler Sansom, coming on the podcast or the webinar. For that, we're going to be, and we got Fred from Mosaic Church in, I don't remember where in Tennessee, but in Tennessee. And so we're going to be talking community and connection. What does connection look like digitally, and how can we drive those connections into a community, whether in physical space or digital space? What does it look like for a digital ministry to make a physical church better? And so we're going to be talking more missionally with this one. We're going to be talking more wide with this one. The month after that, we've got in May, we've got, well, I'm not going to tell you that. We have to. If you are interested in signing up for the webinar, go ahead and check out resi.io/community hyphen. No, you know what? I'm going to do another way. Clarksville, Tennessee. Thank you for that. Whitebeard is, in fact, my fact checker. He literally fact checks everything I say to make sure it's valid, and he corrects me in Discord chat when I'm wrong. And so, thank you for that. Go to resi.io/community-connection. He's already sending me my prompts because I screwed up the URL. Or you can go to resi.io, and on the primary menu, you just hover over resources, and there's a direct link to it there. We're making it better for round 2. But for this time, over 300 churches have signed up for this thing. Like, that's so cool. And so excited to jump into that conversation tomorrow with Tyler and Fred and the Resi team to help you guys take some next steps. And so this is, we work a lot with planters on here and physical churches doing digital ministry. The webinar is going to be more based on physical ministry. We're going to be talking more physical ministry here in a little bit as well, so stay tuned with that. Hey, we've got obviously some changes coming up through the Church Digital, launched the new website. Social media's changed to Be the Church Digital across all platforms. We're coming into TikTok sooner than later. God bless. And so coming on that as well, we are getting into Discord. And so we're moving away from Mighty Networks. We've talked about this a lot. We're moving into Discord for our primary community. We'll still have the Facebook community, about 2,000, 2,100, 2,200 people hanging out over with us on Facebook, but Discord is going to be our home. And even live streaming and stuff like this in here. There's just a lot of really nice opportunities that the Discord platform allows us to. And so just wanted to give you an update for my schedule. And so I'm going to stream every Tuesday, 1 p.m. Eastern. And then, so like I'm doing right now. And so I will plan on that and we'll notify you through the system when that happens. Wednesday, 2 p.m. We will do an open office, and then Thursday, 11 a.m. open office. Those are all Eastern times. Tuesday, 1 p.m. is going to be a stream. And then Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern, or open offices. Man, these open offices have been really cool. We've had 10, 11, 12 people kind of come into these open offices and really just hang out, get to meet each other, talk, learn about each other, share what they're working on, advice getting passed around. Like, it's super, super relaxed, super chill. And it all happens here on Discord. So the live stream obviously is going to happen in the live streaming channel where you are right now. And then over on the TCD network, grouping on the side, on the Discord, you probably see live office hours. And so that's where I will be on Wednesday and Thursday. Look for the notifications in Discord. We'll send them your way, of course, when stuff like that's happening. And by the way, realize as well that others are going to start live streaming. I think Leighton Flatcap streams, I think, on Wednesdays. I know Andy is streaming as well. Going to see some other open office from leaders pop open as well. But we're excited to, I think some people, all the cool kids call it engaging, right? We're excited to engage with you all in this Discord community and start to even model what community looks like in digital space. By the way, really big deal. Like, if some guy told me once, actually I think I told myself, but the idea of our connections, our digital connections, whether that's content, whether that's relationships, whether that's social media, whether that's email databases, but the connections that we have digitally should feed into a community. Within that community is where we strengthen the relationships that we have with our connections, which leads us to the place where we can enter into disciple-making relationships, where we can start discipleship. And our discipleship is driven to the place of multiplication. That right there is the framework. It is the it's the flywheel for planting a digital church, a metaverse church. To be honest, a lot of your digital ministries and physical churches would succeed if that was the model. And one of the big pieces that's missing, we're going to be talking about this through Resi, because it's not better quality on your. I mean, listen, especially Resi customers. Resi customers are incredible with the streams, because their technology is freaking incredible. But quality isn't going to make that difference. It's going to be the relationships that we build and develop in that space, utilizing the tools. And so, hey, you want to make a huge difference in your physical church's digital ministry? Add a digital community. What does that look like? That's a great question to ask. We are actually launching some learning communities. You know what? You guys are watching the live stream. And as the live stream, and you know what? This is even the live stream that's not on the podcast, because we're airing DK's interview on Friday next week. And so, like, I may put this on YouTube, but it's not going on the podcast. So this is like the super ultra elite crowd that's only getting the stuff that like nobody's really going to be hearing except for you. And so I'm just going to say whatever the garbage I want to say. Like, you know, this is I don't have to worry about leaks, right? Because, I mean, who are you you're not gonna tell anybody. No, don't tell anybody. All right, we are rolling out some learning communities this summer. Excited about this, but we're wanting to work with physical churches that are interested in exploring some different spaces. And I'm really excited about some of these opportunities we're coming up. We're offering 3, maybe 4, maybe 5 learning communities to jump in. And so the learning, we'll have more information, official information, coming out this summer. But the idea of coming out in May. But June, July, and August, we're looking to do an 8-week learning community on several niche topics that we're looking for churches to join us and be part of the learning community. Now, the learning communities that we're doing are driven on these niche topics, but they're driven to execution. Like, we don't want churches like coming around and just like observing, and we want them doing. We remember we talked about this. We have a bias towards action. And so as a result of that bias towards action, we want to see our churches be biased towards action, towards activating something, towards doing something with this. And so we've got 3 topics that are locked in that we are doing. We're working on a couple others still, but 3 for this summer. Number 1, we are doing asynchronous community. That's right. We've talked about this even on this stream, how important asynchronous community, digital community is in context of digital ministry. And to be honest, I believe this, it is the missing piece for many physical churches that are doing digital ministry. For many physical churches to better understand how to utilize digital discipleship, it needs this digital community component that's run through asynchronous. And so I would really love to see, a bunch of churches sign up for this asynchronous community learning community, taught by, one of the top guys in the country when it comes to asynchronous community and church world, Andy Mage. So we're really excited about Chino teaching this one, and so we're going to be starting that in June. More information in May. Pricing and all that will come out in May as well. It'll be listen, for the first round of learning communities, we want to get as many churches in as possible. So we're going to price it cost effective to see churches like yours get into this space. And so look for a asynchronous community led by Andy. Look for church communications led by Barbara Canero. Now, Barbara is really utilizing our connections, is our connections director essentially for the Church.digital, which is a big part of communications. And so she is the genius behind the website. She's the genius behind what's now social media for the Church.digital and so many other things. And I consider her a friend. She has been an incredible asset for the Church.digital, and she can be incredibly helpful for churches like yours. And so if you are struggling with connection, if you're struggling with communication, even in context of your church, or organizational structures, or too many speaking into it, or trying to make everybody happy, or no organizational, like Barbara, we'll have more information on the community, on the learning community for her next month. But look for that from Barbara. And then finally, the third learning community I'm ready to talk about right now, the great Studnami, Stuart McPherson, is going to be talking about church in the metaverse. Now, it's not just virtual reality. There's augmented reality. There's, maybe it's blockchain and crypto. It'll be interesting to see if we can get there with this one. But there's plenty of opportunities, not only church services, small groups, discipleship. There's it's interesting. Metaverse maybe took a hit here in 23 and 24 in context, especially with artificial intelligence being all the rage that it is. And artificial intelligence is a big deal, but it's not community. And if we're looking at the missional forefront, if we're looking at the untapped people, if we're looking for people that need to find Jesus, they're in the metaverse. Artificial intelligence is going to help you maybe better reach the people that you're reaching. Metaverse and virtual reality and augmented reality are going to help you better tap in to new people that you don't even know exist. And so I would challenge some of your churches to maybe experiment with the idea. Take 6 months worth of an experiment, and it's not going to cost you a lot of money. The learning community may be the most expensive thing because so much in the VR is in space is free. So check out that information. Look, I told you, I'm not telling anybody this stuff. This is not even public yet. Like, you are getting but the behind the scenes, the early leak. And so you heard it from me. You know what? I'll even let you tell some other people. It's okay, because it's all coming out here in a week or so. Whitebeard's asking me, what platform are you using for this? For the learning communities or for virtual reality? For virtual reality, I'm not sure. He's kind of all over the place. We are going to be building all of the learning communities within Discord. Yeah, so it's going to be within Discord. You'll have access to the learning communities have private access to specific channels. We're going to be doing it with the Discord team rooms. And so, yeah, this is... like I'm saying, Facebook's nice, Discord's home. Facebook's like the vacation home that we check out every once in a while, and go check out the parents, make sure they're okay. But no, I'm kidding. I don't want to offend anybody that's a Facebook user. I too am a Facebook user. I just really like Discord. So that's where we're going with that stuff. What else do I want to talk about? Yeah, we're going to get into some established church stuff here in a second. I want to share a devotional thought here. Man, 20 minutes already into this thing. Time flies when you're having fun. I really thought this was going to be like a 15-minute stream. You get me talking about stuff I'm not allowed to talk about. Man, I just don't want to shut up. That's one of my best friends here in Miami, Garrett, is constantly joking with me. Yeah, Melanie, I'm not knocking Facebook. Garrett's one of my best friends in town, Garrett. Actually, I run the TCDI, the Church Digital Integrators, my AVL company. I run it with Garrett, and Garrett's constantly saying, Jeff, we got to go out together and get you drunk so you can tell me what's really going on. Because like me with a couple drinks in me, and it's loose lips sink ships, right? It's just all over the place. And Diet Coke, caffeine free. There you go. Hey, listen, it's funny. I've got right there, this is a little Lego. I'm going to switch hats off of Resi. A little Lego Easter egg that I want to share with you. I don't know if you can tell. I probably have to zoom closer back for it to be in focus. But the numbers here, 1220. Had somebody ask me the other day what that meant. And I jokingly, I didn't want to get into the conversation with him, but I jokingly, I said something kind of off cuff, but I was like, you know what? I really do need to tell that story. So I'm going to tell the story to the 5 of you that are on here, and whoever's going to watch this on YouTube when we publish it, but it's not going to blow up because it's not on the podcast, because we're not going to put it on the podcast. So I'll have to tell the story again for the podcast later. That's all right. Matthew 12:20. Where is it? A bruised reed he will not break, in a smoldering wick he will not quench, until he brings justice to victory. So, not going to lie, coming from a guy named Jeff Reed. Hey, J-Mo, how you doing, man? Awesome to have you here on the stream. A bruised reed he will not break. For me, this has meant a lot to me in recent weeks. Now, this is completely out of context. I'm not assuming Jesus is talking about me, even in the prophecy. Like there's nothing in me that says, "Oh, the Reed family is blah blah blah." But it's interesting when I look at this, being a guy whose literal name is Jeff Reed, and realizing that all the bruises that I have right now, at least in this context, God is saying he will not break. That actually has meant a lot to me, dealing with some of the health issues. It's interesting. My wife and I, guys, I've been really struggling, and we've had these conversations, and we've talked about it on stream in the podcast before. On top of the diabetes and the neuropathy, my back, I don't know if it's kidneys, I don't know if it's a slip disc, I don't know. I'm going to a doctor this week to figure it out, but I'm kind of leaning forward here, just to even get it through the stream, so I can finish up having the conversation. Physically, I'm bruised. Emotionally, I'm beat up. I'm tattered. I mean, it's just the reality of where I am. And it's interesting to me that Matthew 12:20, the Easter egg that's behind me with the little Lego blocks, tells you that a bruised reed he will not break. So continue to be praying for me with that. Actually, I have a pharmaceutical appointment this afternoon. A pharmacological doctor, I think that's the way you say that, checks out my meds every month and make sure that nothing's clashing. I'm on so much, I need my own pharmacological doctor to make sure that I'm not like doing something stupid. Yeah. And then Thursday, I see my primary care, try to figure out what's going on with my back and see the specialist for what I need to at that standpoint. And then sandwiched in between there, I'm on a webinar with over 300 people for Resi, talking digitally resilient church, which we talked about earlier, so I don't need to revisit that. And it's interesting. Another Easter egg. I woke up this morning and was like, hey, you know what? I just really want to cover some Easter eggs. So somebody told me I like Funko Pops. I got over 100 Funko Pops behind me scattered in. I've got Funko Pops in boxes I haven't even unboxed because it's like I got nowhere to put them. And I need more space. I need more bookshelves. Like maybe I get rid of the TV and put in bookshelves. I don't know. Got to figure it out. But I keep 4 Funko Pops, like right here, right beneath the camera, and so there's 4 Funko Pops nobody's ever seen before on camera, and this is one of them, and it's the Fruit Loops. Literally, it's a box. I don't know if you can see. Its focus is weird with this camera. You can't get too close. But it's a box of Fruit Loops, and he stands here, and he's eating Fruit Loops. Now, this, you're right, is a horrible thing for a diabetic to have at his desk. In fairness, I've had this longer than I've had diabetes, and so it only occurred to me right now that this is probably too sugary of a breakfast cereal to talk about it in this context. But it's interesting. Like there was Bob Buford. I don't know if you know who Bob Buford is. Bob Buford was a is a church leader, was involved very much. Whitebeard's going to tell us a Bob Buford story because he and Bob Buford go way back. I don't know if that's going to be true, but I would not be surprised if that were to come out of his mouth here in the next 5 seconds. But Bob Buford was very involved. You do know Bob Buford. Bob Buford was very involved in Leadership Network, in the founding of Leadership Network and what is now Exponential Next. And so I worked with Leadership Network. I worked for Leadership Network as their metaverse church director and digital church next director and blah 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 for several years. And so everything with Exponential, with Leadership Network and Expo Next and all of that. Really came out of Bob Buford and just a couple other guys really leaning in and breathing, life into this idea of modern church multiplication and multiplication movements. And Bob Buford was quoted as saying that he liked to watch fruit grow on other people's trees. And that was that always meant a lot to me. I talked about it a couple weeks ago, I think, here on the stream about how, I've always, God, when is it my turn to plant? God, when is it my turn to start a church? These are literal prayers. And every time, when is it my turn? Every time the answer is no. Not now. I don't know ever, to be honest. And it's interesting to me. It's even when I was in physical church, hey, God, when is it? I'm going to serve in this way, but I feel called to executive pastor. I feel called. And it's interesting. I've felt maybe a little bit that our calling, I wonder how much of that is God calling us and how much of is that just our ego wanting. I don't know that I'm fully prepared to unpack that, but just take that with a grain of salt. Which really makes it interesting for Bob, because Bob, who is a very influential man, loved to say that he liked to see fruit grow, not on his tree, but on other people's trees. Bob lived his life sacrificially, empowering others to do what they felt God was leading them to do. And that was just some of the sacrificial mindset. And so, I went on several different Amazon and several Funko Pop websites trying to find a fruit tree. They don't sell a lot of fruit tree. I tried to buy individual fruits, and I thought buying a banana or an orange was weird as a Funko Pop. And so my fruit growing on other people's trees is literally a box of Fruit Loops. So that when I sit down and look at my desk, I always see my fruit grows on other people's trees, a la Fruit Loops. The sugary cereal that may in fact kill me if I eat too much of it. There you go. Thank you, Bob Buford. Don't kill me. Yeah, Sarah, that's good. Very, very, very cool. Hey, listen, there was a thread that's been going around Discord here over the past couple, I think it started yesterday. And it's this idea of physical churches that are tired of doing digital ministry, that are done doing digital ministry, that are wanting to hang it up, that are wanting to move on. I've personally had conversations with pastors who tell me, Jeff, I just don't have the energy for it anymore. I'm actually writing a blog for Resi for that right now, on this right now. And, and I get it. Pastor's job is hard. It's an election year. Politics are going to be a nightmare. Sexual identity crisis is going to take over this country's airwaves coming up very soon. Giving is down. There's a mass exodus of quote unquote professional Christians, people that are church staffers, are leaving the ministry by droves. Like this is a very hard time for churches in general. And many churches, to be honest, they're wanting to simplify what's going on. They're wanting to, they need things to be easier. And really, that's a lot of what's behind going back to the building. This call and this drive to be going back to the building. You know, it's interesting. Whitebeard is alluding to nickels and noses, being the metrics. Hey, listen, all I care about is we're this unnamed pastor. Hey, listen, all I care about is that our giving is stable, so we can make payroll and pay our mortgage. And that attending is up, because if attendance goes down, that means giving goes down, and less people are hearing my message. That's a very jaded approach, but maybe I'm not that probably not that far from the truth on it. But it's interesting. I really wrestle with this. In 2024, is it okay for a church to not have a digital strategy? I mean, sure. I would suggest that every church needs some level of digital strategy. Now, that may not be streaming church services online. If the answer is if the question is should every church stream church services online, I would say, oh gosh, no, I hope not. To that end, I would even say that Erwin McManus has said, hey, if you really care about what your church is doing in the physical church building, why in the world would you stream it online? If you're measuring success off of nickels and noses, don't stream that church service online because you care how many butts are in the seat. Now, there should be other things you should be doing online, and there's other ways to missionally connect with people than the online church service. By the way, those other things are probably going to be more effective missionally than your online church service. So in essence, if you're really trying to reach the lost, maybe streaming that church service isn't that helpful after all. But there are plenty of other things you can stream. We're going to be talking about some of those tomorrow during the Resi webinar. But in fact, there's an opportunity for us to move beyond the service, beyond anything. Once again, we start talking about community. We start talking about discipleship. We start talking about, testimonies and life change. So often our church's strategies are, and to be honest, a lot of our digital planters struggle with this too. They're boxed into this idea of church is Sunday morning, 9:00, a digital version of it. But that is first and foremost paramount with everything. And that, I don't know that, number one, I don't know if that's true. B, if it is, it's a very limiting view of how God can use digital. I want to maybe challenge us here a little bit to think outside of the box. It's interesting. Whitebeard, the startup cost for a digital church is less than a physical campus. Oh yeah. I mean, a physical campus, trust me, I've launched enough of them. A physical multi-site campus is going to cost you $350,000 to do that. That's a lot. What can you do digitally with $350,000? It's interesting. Mark Venti is executive pastor, pastor of ministries. I don't think he's XP anymore, but director of ministries for a church called Church Home. They're in Los Angeles. And Mark is quoted. We interviewed him on, I think, through some stuff with Stadia. I may have this still on the Church Digital, but if not, it's somewhere in Stadia's digital stuff. But Mark is quoted as saying, Jeff, I can reach hundreds of people in a physical church building by paying millions of dollars. Or I can reach millions of people digitally by paying hundreds. Now that's a gross overstatement, and their digital strategy costs more than hundreds. But the fact is still there, is that we have incredible potential digitally to reach people at a much cheaper level. Reach and disciple them. And really, once again, it's all about connecting with them. It's all about inviting them into community. It's all about discipling them. And it's about releasing them, about mobilizing them, about multiplying that out so that they can take other people through that process and launch their own digital expressions of church, or any expression of church. It's all about thinking outside of that box. Melanie has been typing for a long time. I'm seeing Melanie up on the screen for a while. She's hopefully, I can't wait to see it. So, but for the established church people that are out there, that are wanting, that do have a calling, but the calling may not align with where their church is, you have a special place in my heart, because I can relate to that. I have, it's funny, I've said this, I can honestly tell you I had a calling to be a digital pastor. I had a vision for a digital church in 1992. I was 13, 14 years old. I was a high school freshman, 1992. I read the word multimedia in an A+ Apple magazine and caught a vision for what the church could do with digital, and just fell in love with the idea. 30-some years later, here I am. Now, I was not a digital pastor, a paid digital pastor, until 2016. I mean, maybe almost 25 years later. So I carried a vision for what the digital church can be. I even started my own business when no churches would hire me because they didn't have the vision. I was actually told I was going to be a digital pastor 3 different times, was hired by 3 different churches to start a digital ministry as far back as 2005. Like, it was going to be Life Church and the church that hired me. We were going to be the first 2 digital churches. Honest to God. Like, and the church relinquished the vision. They had a theological change of heart. I've had 3 churches play the theological change of heart on me before I finally became officially a digital pastor in 2016 at Christ Fellowship Miami. And so, for those of you that feel like it's a bait and switch, for those of you that really enjoyed doing digital ministry and feel a calling in that space, I can relate to having the wool pulled over your eyes a couple times. To be honest, that's why we're doing what we're doing with the Church Digital, because we feel that there needs to be community in that space. You know, Melanie, people in my old church blamed COVID streaming for giving going down, which I didn't get because I was still giving. They pulled all the digital stuff, including podcasts. It didn't fix things, and they ended up closing because they ran out of funding. Yeah, so none of what you said, Melanie, is grounded in fact. But that's the reality of what we hear a lot of. It's interesting that 80... Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you this. Christ Fellowship, I'll tell you where we are now. The church that I'm at now is a church plant, reality church. It's been open 2 years. 85% of their giving is digital. I believe Christ Fellowship Miami church, and I've got some interesting ties there. I want to say they're almost close to 90% digital. And so it's interesting that you would think, oh, well, you're not able to complete transactions digitally because of a podcast. I don't know that makes sense. Meanwhile, like, we also know this through Lifeway. Southern Baptist Convention tells us that people will watch online church services at least 6 times. The majority, I'm sorry, let me say it a better way. 4 times. The majority of people who will come to your physical church building for the first time will watch an online church service at least 4 times before they will come to the building. up to 6 times, 54% will watch a church service online 4 times before they visit once. And I think it goes all the way down to like 23% watches at least 6 times before they come to the building. So yeah, I mean, if you don't want access to new people, then don't put your service online. And according to Crossroads Community Church, which is actually going to be the Resi webinar we're doing in May, I'll give you the sneak peek on that. They actually found out that, and I think I've said this on here, hybrid attenders that attend physically and digitally, exude a higher level of discipleship than those that just attend physically. Said a different way, that if you really want people to buy into the stuff that you're doing, it needs to not just exist within the building, it needs to be digital as well to be reinforced. Are you getting this? Like, not only will digital give you width, digital gives you depth. Digital will help you reach more people. Digital will help you disciple the people you have better when it's complemented with physical. Now, I'm not knocking digital planters. I'm just saying physical church ministers realize that adding digital to what you're doing gives you this and gives you this. Deep and wide. I'm kidding. If Flat Cap was on, he'd appreciate it. So why would we not do this? It's a really interesting phenomenon. Misinformation, misguided information. Can we? Yeah, fountain growing deep and wide. Can we misquote something? Can we misunderstand what the stats are? Can we misunderstand the biblical calling? Yeah, the Bible doesn't say anything about podcasts. Okay. Our entire religion is grounded off of the written word, which was the modern technology of the era. Paul planted churches by literally writing letters and sending them along the Roman roads. He was the first network. He was literally the first church network was created by him. And I mean, anyway, I don't need to get in. I could just go off. I don't want to. My place is not to knock what's happening. My place is to encourage. And so if you are discouraged, know that Bible has letters. Yes. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, T, U, V. I don't know why that sounded weird in my head. W, X, Y, Z. I think there's 26 of those. So I'm told. Anyway. Some smart Alex like, no, Greek and Hebrew. I cannot play that one. Yeah. So, the book of Melanie, the book of, actually all of Paul's, they're called epistles. The majority of Paul's, so Romans, 1st, 2nd Corinthians, Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians, Colossians, the Thessalonians, Timothy, Titus, Philemon, Hebrews, James, the 1st, 2nd Peter, 1st, 2nd, 3rd John, Jude. Those are all letters. Like, there you go. Whitebeard's going to go theological here on it. But the fact is that, like, they were written communication and sent with a messenger. Like, Paul would literally say, hey, I am unable to be with you right now as I'm either in jail or sick of being in jail. And so instead, I'm sending along Timothy.